So before I start doing this on channel, that I'm not really good at the whole not being face to face thing. So I'm not sure how it's gonna go. It's hard for me to keep talking about myself for like 6 to 8 minutes, but we'll give it a shot. All right. So the first question is, why did you decide to become a teacher? It's definitely a long story. When I was little, um, I liked to play teacher in school all the time. I did with all my friends. I was always the teacher, and they were the students. I really loved making lesson plans, and I even gave my little sister and friends homework. They didn't play with me much, but going through elementary school, I can always remember when somebody asked me what I wanted to be. Um, it was always I want to be a teacher, you know. But obviously, when I was little, I wasn't really focused on my career and everything. It was just when we did our little worksheets, what do you want to be when you grow up? It was always a teacher. I was more focused on things like recess and center, so it wasn't really until junior high when I started to think about being a teacher seriously. Um, when I did start junior high, it was our first year to be able to play in our band. We started beginning band, and they taught us the instrument and stuff like that. Um, and I learned I had a really huge passion for music and stuff like that. I was always a part of the extracurricular band activities. I was always in a little band hall practicing. I took extra classes to learn more than one instrument. Um, when I went to high school, I joined, the marching band, and I got to be like a captain. I was always in charge of uniforms and stuff like that, and I did a bit of color guard my senior year, but it was always something I was really, really passionate about, and so I decided I wanted to be a band director. I wanted to teach high school band. So I still wanted to be a teacher. I was just kind of changing my focus towards teaching music. And so throughout high school, I started taking dual credit courses like music theory and stuff like that to go ahead and get a jump start on that. I took different college classes to go ahead and get my basics out of the way. So when I did get to school, I could go ahead and start working on more music related courses. So I went through and I took courses over the summer and stuff to get ahead in my schooling. I seriously considered going to the University of North Texas because they're so well known for their music programs. But I didn't have the funds, so I continued to want to be a music educator until I got my first class observation hours at TJC. I had been out of high school for about a year, and I was still focusing on music education, and I started observing in a kindergarten classroom just because I had been working at the school already, and I was friends with the kindergarten teacher. I figured that would be easy, I always hung out with her in her classroom anyway, so I knew all the kids. It did change my whole perspective, though, on what I wanted to teach and what I wanted to do when I got older with my degree. The only reason, like I said, I chose this lady was because she was my friend. I knew, she'd kind of work with me on my observation hours. She'd let me come in whenever I needed to. I definitely found my passion for teaching in that classroom. She let me work with a couple of the students who had special needs in small groups and stuff like that. And I grew so attached to all of them. I still talk to them daily. I still work at the school. And so they are in first grade now. No, they are in second grade now. And I still work with some of them daily. I work in a special education classroom now, and some of the children I worked with that had special needs in that classroom, I actually pull out of class and work with daily on their reading and math lessons. I loved being able to help with center times. I loved playing. I loved helping them with their worksheets and explaining to them. I loved getting to see, the aha moment. And I loved listening to them read. That was my favorite part. They had the little book bags. And at the end of the day, they'd ask me, "No, can I read this to you?" Because they were working on reading centers. It was so rewarding to feel like I was teaching somebody. And I can remember thinking about how big of a deal it was for me to get to do something like this every day for a living. So it was that semester when I thought a lot about the teachers that helped shape and mold me into who I am today, and who had such positive impacts on my life. And I wanted to be able to do the same thing. I wanted the opportunity to be able to be that for somebody else. It gives you the opportunity to be the light in someone's life, and that's what I want to do. So, the second question is, describe the biggest challenge you think you might face as a teacher. I think the biggest challenge for me will be dealing with students who have bad behavior issues. The kids at the school I currently work for typically love me and say I'm nice, so fun. You know, they love hanging out with me. I'm kind of one of the more easygoing teachers. I do have problems when it comes to getting on to the kids, though. I know people say all the time, whether they're in education or not, well, I don't like to get on to them all the time, and it's usually an excuse for letting bad behavior go, but I'm actually like that. I hate getting on to kids. I love being the fun, easygoing teacher. Even now, after working at the school, and with the kids for 2 going on 3 years now, I think it takes a lot for me to get on to them and reprimand them for stuff. And when I do, they really don't listen to me, because, believe it or not, I'm not very scary. It's hard for me to yell loud to get everybody's attention, you know. They don't see me as being the serious one, because I'm always the fun, easygoing one. So when I do get on to them, they don't really take me seriously. It seems to be the biggest problem for me working with elementary kids now. When I'm working with a group of them, I have cafeteria duty for lunch, and you know, it's crazy in there. It's like a zoo, and it's hard for me to really get on to them when they're not doing what they're supposed to, because they don't listen to me. I get told often that I'm not mean enough, but my problem is I don't want to be mean, you know? I don't want to be mean enough for them to get on me, for them to listen to me. I want to be mean enough for them to, I want to be respected enough for them to listen to me. I want to find the right balance of loving, but also being able to reprimand them when it's necessary. I'm hoping that throughout my studies, obviously, I'll learn more about behavior modification plans and stuff like that, but I can still predict that that's going to be something that's going to overwhelm me, at least at the beginning. So it'll be hard for me to remember how I'm going to apply those modifications with everything else going on. I know that. I'm hoping that I'll get lucky with my first year class, and I won't have to do this often, but I hope to keep in mind and focus on how each student is unique, because I think that helps, and it helps you remember that each behavior problem requires a unique approach. I'm going to have help from my teammates. Definitely, I hope I have a strong team when I start, just because it'll be nice to have that backup until I have the confidence to handle it on my own. I believe that if I had to, I'd be able to handle it, but I am going to need help. That will be my biggest challenge, while having the confidence and the knowledge to be able to deal with behavioral situations. And I pray that I can keep quick and calm thinking to deal with those problems. Alright, so what strengths do you possess that you think will help you be a good and successful teacher? I think one of my strengths that will help me be a good teacher is how well I get along with and connect with the kids. I believe that I have the right balance of bubbly and kid-like attitude in my personality that makes kids more willing to talk to and connect with me than other adults, just from what I've witnessed working at the school. I'm pretty good at making some not-so-fun things fun. I'm good at making up games and songs to go along with whatever we're doing. I believe I'm a very loving and caring person. I'm the type of person who cares very deeply if things are fair, a lot like the other students do. I like the students don't really care for busy work. I don't like the unnecessary worksheets and assignments and stuff like that, and I try to make sure that isn't something that they have to do with me. I'm very creative, and I love to incorporate that into my work, so I like to give the kids the opportunity to do the same. I have plenty of patience when dealing with kids who require that little bit more, whether it's with time or with help or with behavioral issues. I think I'm pretty good at coming up with hands-on things to teach lessons which the kids seem to really enjoy. I'm sort of chaotic and all over the place, if you can't tell, which can be seen as a weakness, but I know how to use it to my advantage. I know how to make the chaos fun. I'm like an organized mess. The chaos adds that element of fun if it's handled in the right way, which I believe I do, and helps them see that their teacher isn't superhuman, but more like them. I also don't have a problem with letting kids know I've messed up or done something wrong. It helps build that trusting relationship between you and your kids. I also think that it helps that I already have experience in dealing with certain types of children who know the processes for specific things. Um, I worked directly with RTI coordinators and a pull-out team for a whole year, and then I got moved into the actual special education resource room this year, and I feel like I have more tools in my belt than most people do at this point in their education. I feel like I'll be better prepared to deal with children in my classroom who need these certain things because I know how to work with them more on my own than most people would starting out. I think I have a better understanding of how to deal with children that have special needs and what all extra they require to be successful. How would you encourage students to be lifelong learners? This is an easy question. You just have to make learning enjoyable and fun. Nobody willingly does something that's not fun or enjoyable, so how can we expect kids to do something we wouldn't do ourselves? Our job as educators is not only to make sure that we are delivering our information to kids, but making sure they understand it. Our job is to ignite a passion within them for learning. We have to give them a reason to want to continue on. It can be hard to make certain things fun, but it's our job to try our best to keep things interesting. While routine is good, it is also good to mix things up with your kids. It helps keep things interesting. Things that are different also stick with us more. So following that, mixing things up with your teaching is important. When teaching very important things, so they will have a greater chance of remembering it. I think being able to teach students what their learning types are and then making sure that I can go over our lessons using a little bit of every style so all my children have an equal opportunity to learn is an important part of making sure that they continue to want to enjoy learning when they leave my house. Thanks.